I think we're live. How's it going, folks? Freedom of Eisen here from Holistic Songwriting, and welcome to this very special live stream here on Holistic Songwriting, the main channel. Now, as you may know, I have a Patreon page where I do these live streams every single week. But what I don't do there yet is show some of my recording process or some of my writing process. But that's something that I want to change, because as soon as we hit 60 patrons, I want to add that as a feature. So every week I will be doing a little bit of that. Pretty much just showing my process. And let me turn off my cell phone before we start doing this live here. You know, it's live. Things go wrong all the time. But this is something I want to take care of first. So that's something I want to do in the future a little bit more. As soon as we hit 60 patrons, I'm going to be starting to do these live streams where I kind of show my process, both in terms of recording, as we're going to do today, and also the songwriting process, where I'm going to be writing some actual songs with you guys together. So I'm really excited about this. I think this could be really quite cool, and I hope to do more of these. So please, you know, it's a sort of advertising for Patreon, for sure, for Patreon. But let's actually start recording some stuff, shall we? So what I'm going to be using is this baritone guitar here. This is a Paul Reed Smith SE. I'm not a guitar guy, so in case you are, that's what I'm telling you. It's a baritone guitar. That's kind of all that was important to me when I bought it. I'm not really I'm one of those guys who say, like, I need a car to get me from point A to B. I don't really care what brand it is or whatever. So yeah, but that's what it is if you're interested. And I'm also going to be using a bass, which is an LTD. I think it's called a Warlock or something like that. Warwick. Now Warwick is a different company. So see, that just shows you how little interest I have in those kind of things. I'm also using a Kemper profiling amp. I'm using a preset called 38.1 Mesa Processed. This is a preset I bought from STL Tones, which I very much like. You'll hear it in just a second. I think it sounds rather cool. We also using a DI. A DI just translates to direct input. So that's a little splitter, essentially. And let me just show you what that looks like, actually, so you have a little bit more of an idea of what I'm talking about here before we wire it up again. Let's see. So this is a DI. This is what it looks like. I'm using the one from Millennium, which is the cheapest one, but as far as I can tell, works just as well as the expensive ones. Actually checked out, I bought a couple of them and sent back the ones I didn't need. Millennium one works just totally fine. You don't really need the expensive stuff, and this one was 24 euros, so something like 30 bucks or so. And it's really rather good. So what it does is, as you can see, it has 3 inputs at the front, like that, and it's got 1 output at the back. Okay? Now, so it's got actually, I'm lying. Yeah, it's got 2 inputs right here. One is for a jack cable, one is for an unbalanced, so XLR cable, and we also have a link, which is kind of an output, and then at the back we have an output that's XLR. Okay, so the way this works is this output here in the back is going to go directly into my sound card, giving me a direct signal coming from the input right here. So the input that's where my guitar is going to go, using a jack cable, and so guitar goes in here through the input. I'm not going to use the unbalanced input. Then there's another cable going out at the back, right into my computer. That's going to be recording the clean direct signal. And then there's a link, meaning the signal is going to be split. There's a second output going to go to my Kemper amp. And that allows me effectively 2 things. First of all, it allows me, hold on, let me just make sure that I wire this up correctly. It allows me to record, and where's the last one? There we go. Okay. First of all, it allows me to record clean signal into my computer while listening through the Kemper, so I don't hear the clean signal as I'm playing it, which is no fun for me as a guitarist, because like when you're performing, you want to hear the final sound and you want to hear like a thick, cool, fat rock sound. You don't want to hear like a thin, tingy little clean sound. That's no fun playing guitar riffs like that. So that's number one. Secondly, I could, if I wanted to, also record the Kemper, so I'd have both of those signals. But what I'm going to be doing today is more of a perfectionist perfectionistic approach. Is that the word? Where I'm going to be recording just the clean signal. I'm going to flex that a little bit, massage it a little bit in terms of timing, and I'm going to select the perfect takes for that one so that we have just the perfect guitar take. And then I'm going to reamp this, meaning I'm going to send it out of my sound card directly into the Kemper and from the Kemper back into the computer. Meaning we're recording a very clean signal that's not affected at all. It's not compressed. It's not distorted or anything like that. And then we are gonna, once we've messed with that until we really like the take that we have, we can comp it together that way really easily. We can send it through the Kemper again, and then we finally get the distortion and all the good stuff. Okay, so that's gonna be a process today. We're gonna do that for both the guitars and the bass guitars. And the song we're gonna be working with today is called Care from my upcoming album. So this is kind of a note of release, I guess. I'm hoping to release sometime in March next year. There's still a lot of work to be done. This is something I'm working on pretty much every day at the moment. Just recording guitars, because I have demo recordings here, but now we're gonna do the final recordings for this together. Because something that really pisses me off about a lot of, I mean, not to blame anyone really, I can totally understand why they do it. But what I don't personally like about a lot of YouTube channels or a lot of videos you see on YouTube is the process is just so edited out, you know, like you don't see them actually working on it, and you get a gist of it, you like understand like, okay, so those are the steps, but you don't see them working on it, and so those little details that are so super important get kind of lost in that. And what I want to do is, this is going to be a long video, right? I don't know when we're going to stop, as soon as, I don't know, I go off to eat or something like that, I guess. We're just going to go through everything together pretty much, so you really get an idea of what it's like to be recording final guitars for a session such as this, okay? Now, I already know I won't be using these tracks here, so I'm just going to hide those for now. And we won't be using a second track. You can see it's well organized as well, like all the titles have names. I chose audio 1 for this one, for example, audio 2 for that one. I thought, like, you know, having something where the numbers go up might be a really good system. Also, as you can see, I'm really using the colors well. That's actually the first thing I'm going to do. I'm really horrible at those things. So for me, these sessions are just really like, you know, quickly done. So that's kind of what a session of mine looks like. There's no naming, no colors or anything. But before I start with the re-recording of the guitars, I typically turn everything else brown, just so that I know. See, so now everything should be brown. Oh, wait, this was solo, that's why. And now these are off because we still have another solo track. There we go. So, so just that I know that this is all the old stuff, I won't be using any of this. Now, let's start maybe by listening to the song. What do you guys think? At least for a couple of seconds, so you get an idea of what we're trying to achieve here. All right, I'm gonna be putting those on. I usually don't work with these. It's a pain in the neck that I have to, but I did a sound check before we went live here. And unfortunately, there's a lag between the computer signal and the microphone that I'm recording with, and so there's this constant delay, this constant like slap back delay. It's super annoying, so I have to record through these just for the live podcast. Normally, it's not something I do, just so you know. Okay, so I think we're all set up. Let's listen to just maybe the first 10 or 20 bars or so. Hold on, this is supposed to be there. That's a good start. I hope I didn't unmute any of the elements. Okay, I think these here should all go, right? Ah, damn, see, I think I messed up already. Let's just go back a couple of steps. There we go, that's better. Okay. Until eventually we get here. second verse, and then we have a bridge as well. No real end yet. That's something we have to work on as well. So that is the track so far. And let's just really quickly look through the live chat. I'm hoping that people will be able to hear what I'm writing here. Okay. Okay. So, Masterful, yes, it's 10 a.m. where I am right now. So Pacific Central Time, PCT. What's PCT actually? I don't know. Maybe not so important right now, but it's 10 a.m. in Germany right now, which is where I'm at. So this is it's Logic Pro X. It's not FL Studio. I'm not a big fan of FL Studio personally. It's more for electronic work. For recording stuff and MIDI, I think Logic to me presents a really good software for covering the both of them. Anyways, let's get into the whole thing. And now, one side note before we start. Something that's very unfortunate is I couldn't get it to work the way I want it, in that when I'm playing the guitar, you won't be hearing the distorted sound. You'll only be hearing the clean signal. And that, I think, is a shame. Unfortunately, I couldn't get it to work any other way, because just the setup is already complicated enough, because whatever OBS, the software I'm using for the live stream, is listening to is different. It's complicated. You know, what it ends up as happening means just the thing you're going to be hearing is just the clean guitar coming through the microphone, not even through the computer. And that's a shame, but that's unfortunately how it is. So, whereas I can hear a really full, fat rock guitar, you're only going to be hearing this tingy little thing. Okay, so what am I hearing when I'm listening to this demo? There's a couple of things that really bother me. First and foremost is that lead guitar is really a little bit detuned. Over here, obviously, that's all cut up and it sounds really choppy. The bass is way overblown in terms of distortion. Those, I think, are the biggest issues that I have with it. And timing-wise, there's a couple of issues here and there. That's all things we're going to fix now. Okay. Now, first things first, I think I'm just going to take out all of these tracks. I'm only going to be listening to the guitar track right now, to the drum track right now, which is programmed completely. By the way, if you're interested what software that is, that's using Kontakt 5 with an instance of Studio Drummer. And this is a preset I built myself that I call Light Rock Drums, okay? And this is what it sounds like just by itself. So this is not real drums. The final project, I hope, is going to have real drums. But let's listen to that real quick. All right, so that's the drums for the chorus, and the verse has this. All right, cool. Folks, let's get into it. So I'm going to arm this as record, and I'm actually recording a mono signal, so this is not coming from my Kemper. I'm not going to be recording anything from the Kemper right now. I'm only recording the clean signal through the DI, and I think in terms of signal, not a whole lot seems to be coming through. So let me just go into... Oh yeah, that's because the DI was off. There we go. That sounds much better. It looks much better. Okay, good. So let me listen to that guitar part again, because I haven't written this down anywhere, and I a little bit forgot what it's played like, what it sounds like. Okay, I think the way I want to play it is a little bit different. I think I want to go, instead of going, I think I want to go. And actually, I think I might add a little bit more of a bend to it, just to add a little bit more of that tension, you know, the right now, way now, a little bit more of that. So, hear that instead of. Okay, and so how does it end? I'm going into this bass riff here. So let me just see how I'm going to end this section, because right now it's cut off completely. Okay, so I can basically just let it ring out. That's perfect. Okay, so we're going to go with that. Why make it complicated if there's a simple solution? Now, I'm not going to be starting recording on the beat exactly. For two reasons. Obviously, it's really difficult to hit the one if you don't have any pre-count, so I'm obviously using a pre-roll as well. But at the same time, well, actually in Logic it's not so much of a problem, but I don't want to cut off the attack, because usually I start off playing a little bit before the beat, because, you know, you hit the strings and then the sound comes. So you have a little bit of the first of the string, of the plaque hitting the string. So I don't want to lose that. Fortunately, though, Logic has a really cool function in which, you know, it looks like it's cut off, but it's actually not. So let's actually work with this here. And we have to make sure that we're working with a click. Yes, we are. Okay, perfect. So let's work from here on out, and let's see what we can do with this. I'm going to be recording a couple of takes of this, so maybe we can already start by setting up a loop here, so we can already record that into a take folder. Here we go. Oh, and that's where I went wrong. I shouldn't have done that. I think I need to let it ring out a little bit longer. So unfortunately, we need to record a little bit more here. Let's do one more. Actually, I think, you know what? I think we're fine with this. And no flex time. I don't want to use you right now. Okay. So that is it for now. I think there were some pretty decent takes amongst those, but we'll see what they sound like right now. And now you can hear it for the first time through the distortion. Is that right? No, you probably can't actually. But let's see. I could route this to... oh, rats. That is annoying. See, that is annoying. Since I'm using a different output so you guys can hear what's happening inside this program, I cannot reroute through my amplifier. That is shit. How are we going to handle that? I think I might be... The best way to do that is to probably just switch back and forth. Okay, so you know what we're going to do? We're actually going to work on this with these clean files for now. And then I'm going to switch the settings so that the output is going to go into the Kemper. So you guys won't be hearing anything for a little while. Except the microphone, presumably, yes. And then we're going to switch back so you guys can hear what we've recorded after the reamping. Okay, so typically I would be working on this and I would be hearing it distorted through the amp already. Nothing's recorded, I'm just hearing it directly rerouted and back into the computer. So that I can already hear what the whole thing is, the final thing is going to sound like. But now I guess we have to work with what we have, which is this clean signal, okay? All right, so first things first, I'm going to go through and find the best take. That's always my first go-to thing. We have 5 different takes here, I think. Now let's go through them and find the ones that have the most impact, okay? And at this point, I'm not really looking at timing, so I'm going to turn off my click and everything else as well. I'm just looking for the best performance. Okay, first hit. I think that one's fine. I think this one has a lot of impact for sure. Yeah, the thing is, that's the shame. It's a shame that we can't reroute it because sometimes it's those little inconsistencies, those little, you know, what sounds like a mistake here where another string is like ringing as well. Sometimes it's that really makes a performance. So that's kind of a shame, but you know, we'll work with what we have. All right, so this one's a little bit before the beat. That sounds a little bit off tune. I think this one is the best. It's the cleanest, but... Okay, so now here we have a little bit of a little click here. So let's see if we can get rid of that. I'm doing this by zooming in all the way and finding a moment where... So I'm looking at this curve up here, and I'm moving these until those 2 lines match up a little bit. See that? So now those 2 line up, and now there shouldn't be a click anymore. Oh, there's still a little bit of a click. So let's maybe we can get rid of that even better. Let's see. Where's the mistake here? I'll see if we zoom in a little bit further, we can see what that is. So let's see. Okay, that right there seems to work. So a click, which is something that we always want to get rid of. In this case, it might not actually be all that important because we're going to reamp it anyways, and the amp takes care of a lot of that anyways. But for a lot of other stuff, say vocals and maybe bass guitar or like more natural instruments like stringed instruments, you kind of want to get rid of all those clicks because they really get annoying and they can mess with your plugins. In this case, it's not that important. I just wanted to show you how to do that anyways. Okay, so then we got the down, do. Let's see which one is the best one here. I think I like this one the best. Maybe it's just because of the timing, but I think this one is cool. All right, so there we have a little bit of a timing issue. So definitely gonna use a different take here. And now we also have to make sure that that still works. Okay, and let's see if we can take another take. This one has a lot of impact for sure. Let's see how that works. Oop. Nope, that's not what we want. I think I like this one the best. Moving on. I like the beginning of this one, but I like the end of that one. So you know what? I think I'm probably going to do a comp between the two of them. Let's see if we can make that work. Okay, there's a little bit of a timing issue here because this one is a little bit before the beat. Let's see if we can find a spot here where we can remedy that. So how about this? Okay, there's still a little bit of a click. As I said, it's not going to be so much of a problem once we amp it through the Kemper. Okay, so this one's clearly a little bit before the beat. Maybe we can... It's not so much of an issue right now because we're going to flex it anyways later. This one is nice. Let's just take that one. Although I don't like the ring off of it because it kind of the sound, as you can see here in the curve as well, kind of gets very small very quickly. I like this one a lot better in that regard. I think this one is probably just the best. Okay, moving on. I already knew that this one was going to be the correct one. You can see like that has the accents exactly where we want them. It's the down, down, down. You know, I wanted to hit hard on the heavy counts. Because I do want this to feel heavy and just mean and big and fat, you know? Okay. That was nice. Yeah, I want to go straight to the open string, I think. Okay, so I think this is probably my perfect take, so to say. I think this comp here sounds rather good. Let's listen to the whole thing. There's one click that's a little bit loud, maybe, so we can take care of that. There we go. All right, is there anything we can do about this? There usually is, so it's usually not difficult to find a good spot. Nope, but that's not it. This seems perfect, does it? Yeah, seems great. This should totally work. All right, there we go. Okay, so that is step one. Now I'm gonna bounce this down with some Logic goodness here. I'm gonna cut off the beginning, and I might shorten the tail, but I'll do that later to kind of fit it into the song better. And now we're gonna go into flex time. By the way, these are all things I explain in the Geek Free Music Production course in depth. Like if you have no idea how to do any of this, or if you're lost on some of the details, that's the course where I really explain every single one of those things. And the course at this point is 10 hours long, and there's another update coming. So yeah, you'll find your answers there for sure. Now I'm thinking, should I go monophonic or polyphonic? Usually for guitars I go polyphonic, but this is just a one-note thing, so let's go with monophonic this time. Okay, now first things first, let's just start by quantizing it. It's 16th notes, so let's go with that. Let's see what that sounds like and if we have to fix anything. And for this, I do want my click on. So here, this feels a little long until I get into the bend, so I'm gonna add a little bit of a locator here and try to and also I'm gonna pull this one forward ever so slightly. Or actually pull it back. Where was this originally? There? This might work. Okay, we have to pull that one back. Let's just a tiny bit. This seems behind the beat, doesn't it? That's because it is. See, I think this marker here was set wrong. It should be more like this, I think. Much better. This one also. Same thing here. Yep. See? The marker was set wrong. Because again, we don't really care about the attack of the pick as much as we care about the actual sound coming through. This also here, something's going on here. I think this one's probably a little too early even. Or we probably just have to stretch this out just a tiny bit more. Now we're getting some artifacts here, which is not what I want for sure. You know what I'm actually going to do? I'm going to leave this where it is and just bring this back just ever so slightly. Because this is fine. It's just this beginning here that I don't really like. Okay, same issue here. Locator was in the wrong spot. Yeah, this could be better. That sounded a little bit off. What was that? Here somewhere, I think. Oop, that was a little too far. This one here seemed, what was it? Too early, too late? Maybe. No, it's fine. Okay. All right. I would say we have our first take. Now, I'm going to start recording this into the Kemper. So I'm going to change the output in the audio menu here. Hopefully we won't get any problems with OBS now. But so I'm sending this to Universal Audio. And I hope you can still hear me. Give me a holler if you can't hear me anymore. Check, check. I think you can still hear me, right? Can you still hear this, actually? I don't think you can. You can't hear that, right? Just checking. Can someone please tell me on the chat? No. Okay. Okay. All right. Just looking in the chat here, and apparently you guys can't hear what I'm doing. Okay, so what I am doing here, though, is I'm sending this out to a stereo, to a mono track here, output 3. I have to rewire it really quick. Okay. Nope. go. So just put the input, the jack cable from my guitar into output 3 there, so that instead of the guitar feeding the Kemper, now my computer is feeding the Kemper. Okay, now I'm creating another track here, which I'm going to record arm. It's going to be a stereo track, and input is going to be 5 and 6 because that's where my Kemper goes into my computer. Output is going to be 1 and 2, so stereo. All right, now if everything works, we should have a signal here. Don't need a click now, and we don't need this either. Gonna get some water. Quite a different curve, eh? All right. I think that's as much as we're gonna get out of it. Now let's switch back the audio so you guys can hear what I'm hearing. To what was it again? Should be I Show You, right? Nope, not both. Definitely not both. I hope this is correct. Or was it the multiple outputs? Multiple outputs. I think both should work. They're both leading to the same thing. Okay, let's see if you guys can hear that. Waiting on logic, having fun. Okay, so let's see if you guys can hear that. We can turn this off, and actually I'm going to hide it. Sounds good, no? I like it. All right, we're going to do that whole thing again. Sorry, folks, but that's what it takes. And as I said, we're doing this the whole way. We're not just going to do like a half-assed kind of thing. We're going to be doing this the whole way. And you don't have to watch everything. Like, if you want, you can just skip forward through this part. If you're watching this live, sorry. That's what you chose to do. So we're going to re-record this. But this time I'm going to be explaining a little bit less and doing a little bit more, so that we get through the second one a little bit faster than through the first. A lot of THs in there. Okay, we're gonna de-solo those. Is that a word? De-solo? Well, I just made it up. Okay. Anything else? We probably should set the locators like that, and apart from that, I think we should be all fine. Oh yeah. Are we still in tune? That's fine. I mean, it's very low, so there's the tuner sometimes has issues with that. Okay. All right, let's record that. No, this time I really would like a count in, actually. Thank you, Logic. You know what? I actually want to turn off this guitar track. Sorry, that's going to make it even less pleasurable to listen to for you guys, but I really need to hear what I'm playing. One more. I think we had some good takes here. Right, less takes means less selections when it comes to editing. So this is turned off, yes, okay. Perfect, let's listen to that and comp that together real quick. Although real quick is a relative term in music production, unfortunately. Oh, there's more, okay. Never mind. I like those first two for sure. I think this were only the best one in terms of tone. Okay, moving this one back slightly. There's a little bit of a click. Can we get rid of that? And then the timing there is not as good as it could be. B-U-da-da-da. That's better. I like the first half of this one, second half of that one. Yep. It's nice. That's good. Also not bad. So these two I like. This one just looks a little bit more pleasing than this one visually, I guess. It's the only reason I'm picking it. Let me see. I think we're gonna take this one from here so we don't have to, you know, take this one here. Okay, now we just have to move that back ever so slightly. Alright, sounds good. I don't like the slide in there. Okay, that's nice. So maybe like this. This one actually is probably my favorite. Something like that, I guess. Okay, there's also a click. We're not going to worry about that right now. I'm not even sure if you can hear it through YouTube. Okay. This one's nice. A little early here. The old problem. None of them are really nice. This one isn't anything. Nope. Okay. I think we're kind of gonna go with that one. And for this, I do want to find a common spot to cut these together like this. All right, that's fine. Now, first half here. By the way, if you want to know how to resize the cycle region, you can just hold Shift on your keyboard and it's gonna if you're on the left side and hold shift, it's gonna allow you to shorten the left side of it, and if you're on the right side of it, like once you move through the center, as you can see here, the thing changes, so then you can readjust the right side of it. Another way to do all of this, if you want to just preview stuff, is hitting enter. The numpad enter, not the other enter, because the other enter is just stop. With the other numpad enter, it allows you to jump back to your last play position. So the position that you last played your track from. Okay. That's a good one. This one even has a little bit more zest to it, so let's take that one, I think. Nice. I think this could be better. Yep, this one sounds good. Let's move that back just ever so slightly. Okay, well, we definitely need one with a little bit more attack here. It's good. I like this one the best, maybe just because of the timing, but I mean, it's a little bit before the beat, but at least it's consistent in itself. Alright, let's take that one. So, because we can solve that with flexing in just a sec. Alright. Quick question you might have is, why am I not just reamping this right now and then flexing it? Well, because here it's so much easier. Look at this. This curve, it's impossible to tell where all the transients are. Or it's really difficult, at least. I've done that. I did that for years, and it's really hard. It's so much easier if you're just reamping, because the clean signal is just so much clearer. You can see immediately where all this stuff is. So, all right, let's get into it. Again, click on. There's already an issue there. What is it? That's a little too quick, that ditto. Same here. Here the transient isn't set right. The the transient marker, whatever you call those locators here. Nice. Okay, this clearly isn't set right. Oh, look at that. It's a big jump. Yep, same thing here. Duet it. Okay. Same with this. I think we have to listen to that one again. I think this needs to be just a tad faster here. And we probably have to redo this one either as well. See? The timing didn't feel right. You know what I have now? I feel like this here feels too much like a transient. It feels like a delay. So that's better. Okay. This one feels a little early here, doesn't it? No, it's fine. This one seems late. That's the problem. So maybe let's put it here. Something like that. Still a little bit late, right? Still crazy. Yeah. Same issue here. It should be on here. Let's see what that sounds like. I'm just looking at the grid up here to figure out where those things go. Sometimes it doesn't work as well as you could see here. Yeah. Okay, this one clearly doesn't work. Yeah, so the quantization feature doesn't really work so well in Logic yet. I mean, it's really difficult, obviously, but for an algorithm to kind of figure out where those different transient markers are supposed to go. I get that, but it just means you still have to go through and still do everything by hand. I don't know where this is supposed to go. We'll see. Oh, what's going on here? That's definitely wrong. Wait, what? Is this supposed to be here? Really? It is. Weird. Okay, so this all moved completely. This must have been quite laid forward. There we go. All right, happy with that. So, and exiting flex time, and let's reroute that through the Kemper. Just checking the live chat here real quick. Everything's fine. So Lak Hung Lam just asked, how do you think about the algorithm of the Logic's flex tool? Whenever I work with it, artifacts show up and it really gets me upset. So that can happen, especially if your take is really bad. Then if you have to adjust large timing errors, then you get those artifacts usually. Like that's one reason why they pop up, is if the timing errors are margin, like are of too high a margin, then because you have to stretch or compress too much, then those artifacts pop up more. And I don't have that issue so much because I'm a fairly tight player. Not saying I'm a very super tight player, but my timing isn't impeccable, but it's good, you know. So I don't have that issue too much. With vocals, I have that much more. When I'm singing, my timing isn't as good, so I have to do a lot more takes. As you're mentioning, you do. Someone mentioned, Acid Rain mentioned, you do 100 takes or whatever. Or Lak Hung Lam said that himself. For the vocals, I do a lot more takes, and I comp together all the best ones, because for vocals, since they're not running through an amplifier, which kind of takes out the small artifacts that might still happen through the processing, through flex time. For vocals, I don't do any flexing at all. The one thing I might do is cutting up the vocal and moving it ever so slightly. So I'm not using a stretching feature. I'm just moving the blocks about. That's really kind of the only thing I do with vocals, with main vocals, that is. With backing vocals, I'm much freer. You know, with backing vocals, I'll use flex time. No worries about that there. Yeah, so I think if you pick the right algorithm in Logic Pro for stuff like this, it's really, really fantastic. And I use it quite a lot. All right, sure thing, Lak. Cool, moving on. Now, let's route this to the Kemper. And I really should find a better solution for the whole rewiring here. Maybe I'm going to use 2 DIs in series. I'm not sure if there's any noise that it's going to be introduced with that, but it's something I'm thinking about currently. I don't know. This DI seems very clean in terms of tone. But maybe I'm going to set up another DI so I don't have to replug it every time, because that is kind of annoying. It's just a workspace kind of thing, but, you know. All right, let's send this to output 3 here. Sounds good. Set up another track. We're just going to duplicate this one because it already has all the right settings, and then we can turn this off, turn off the click, and and now I'm just hoping that it kind of dies off in a similar way than the other guitar. Okay, a little bit longer there. We'll see if that works. If it doesn't, I think it's probably fine. I'm probably going to ride that anyways with some automation, but we'll see. Okay, let's see how much we have to take off. cutoff of this one. First of all, let's hide that one. I just want to hear this. Is this necessary? Nope. So let's just cut it off. All right. So now we have two guitars. And how about this one up here? Is this little dot here necessary? Maybe. This might be actually kind of cool. I kind of like a little bit of noise before the actual guitars start. Can be quite cool. So I'll just listen to that in isolation real quick. No, in this case, I don't really like it. Now, this is probably going to click a little bit. So I'm just going to do a fade in of like 1 millisecond. I don't want to do a long fade out, a fade in, because it's really going to take out all the attack of that thing. And I really want it to hit hard for sure. And it still does. So that's good. Does this one click? Probably not. Oh, it does. Okay. Well, let's do a little fade in here as well. Perfect. Okay, so now we have two duplicates of pretty much the same guitar part, and it sounds like this. Sounds pretty massive, but here's where the cool part comes in. This is my favorite part every single time. Pan them left and right, and you get this. Okay. It bothers me a little bit. So, you know what? Let's first check when the signal is completely dead. Here. Okay. About there. With this one, it's a little bit later. About here. Okay. By the way, you guys can't hear what I'm editing here, of course. So I have to switch that back. See, I knew that was going to happen. I have to set this back to that. And now you guys should be hearing what I'm working with here. Probably someone in the live chat already mentioned that. Yeah, you only get the sound from the headphones. Yes, Janina, I'm streaming. The fade in equal to a zero cross? A zero cross? What's a zero cross? You're referring to a crossfade? I don't quite understand the question, Acid Rain. Now I can listen to a wet signal but record dry. Yeah, exactly. That's exactly why I'm doing this. Renee says, why not record all 10 takes at once and pick two different comps afterwards? Yeah, that's usually how I do it. I just, for the sake of entertainment, because I want to kind of be able to talk a little bit between my recordings, that's how I do it now. But typically, what I do is I record maybe 4 or 5 takes for one track, and then I do the whole thing again for another track. Yeah, typically that's how I do it, just because I don't want to unplug this stuff all the time. And typically I record all the clean signal first. It's just for this, I thought it would be a little bit more entertaining to do it the other way. Anyways, let's listen to that again so we can hear it first of all together. And here's my favorite part, panning it left and right. Okay, now we have to take care of this here, this situation. Okay, so this one takes a little bit longer to die out. So what we're gonna do is just take that out a little bit faster like that, I guess. Maybe we could even do it like this, bring that back a little bit further and adjust the curve accordingly. Let's see. So left is still a little bit longer. I don't think it really matters all that much, but at this point, yeah, still a little bit. Oh, interesting. Now the other one at the end there has a comeback. Okay, so maybe we're gonna do it like this. I don't like that. So let's move that back here and maybe do this. All right, I think that's fine. I think that's fine. So notice that at the beginning of this, I didn't cut off the attack, because what I used to do when I started out was just cut him hard like this. And that's not good. You really want those attacks. You really want a little bit of time before the beat comes in, because, and this is here my sound theory, if you have the kick drum coming in precisely on the beat, right? And the guitars are coming in precisely on the beat, and the bass is coming in precisely. All that stuff is creating one big transient in the final audio wave. So if you use a compressor, it's just going to duck all that down, and it's going to sound less impactful. But if those are slightly spread apart, so you have maybe the bass coming in right here, so a little bit before the beat, and the guitars coming in right here, and I'm talking about really like milliseconds here, right? Then those three transients are spread apart just ever so slightly, making them a little bit easier to hear. All of those instruments will have a little bit more impact. And most importantly, then when you later compress the master of the whole track, you're not gonna compress all three, but each of those are gonna be compressed individually, and you're gonna have a more dynamic sound, and all three instruments are gonna have a lot more punch. Okay, so that's my theory behind it. I'm not 100% sure if that's completely correct, but that's how I see it, and that's what it sounds like to me, so I'm guessing that's what happens, okay? All right, I like that. So, you know what? I think we're gonna end on, and this is gonna take a while, anyways. On the bass, and let's see. First of all, can we just move this over here? I think it's the same length, so I think we can, as well as this. This one I'm probably gonna re-record. Let's see. Let's maybe we can do some magic here and just copy that over like this. Sometimes that works. Maybe with a crossfade, we should probably get that to work. So, okay, so there's a little bit of a click here, not surprisingly. So we are gonna add a crossfade here, like this. And now there's the crossfade you were talking about. Who are you again? I forgot. Someone mentioned a crossfade. Why does a mono clip in Logic still have double waves visualized? Because these are actually stereo signals. This is coming from my Kemper, and the Kemper is recording in stereo. So I have stereo recordings here. You know, technically I could just record them in mono, but, you know, gives you more of stuff to play with in the future. Just in case I would ever need to... maybe I want to get rid of one of the guitars, right? I still have a little bit of a stereo signal that I can work with, so it just gives me a little bit more flexibility, I guess. I don't know. Maybe not. It's not something I'm worried about too much, to be honest. Okay, that's good. That works. And there we have our end. And I think here I'm probably just going to let those ring out, but that's something we'll do in the future sometime. Okay, bass guitar. Now, first things first. Okay. First things first is what? What does every good recording engineer do first with all of their instruments? You're right, tuning them. So this isn't the best bass, so there's some timing, some pitch inconsistencies here. That's just how it is. What I'm doing here, I know that those are going to be the frets that I'm going to be working with, so I'm not doing like the typical intonation check at the 12th fret. I'm just checking like the first 5 frets because that's where I'm going to be working for a pitch that kind of levels out with the different pitches. Like I want something that is pretty much in tune for all of the different pitches. Like I could just go ahead and just tune that lowest string, but then maybe those would be a little bit too high or a little bit too low. So I'm going to find a pitch that is pretty much right on target for all of them, you know? And I mean, I'm not talking about like big pitch inconsistencies here. It's really small things, but I want something that sounds good across my entire riff, not just the low strings. All right, now we are gonna open up a new track. This is gonna be a mono track coming from input 2, because this is my DI track. Okay. And I'm gonna be recording this with a different amp, of course. So, one click on the Kemper, and we've changed that. I also have to adjust my input signal because my bass is quite a bit lower in volume than okay, that looks good. And now I have to figure out what exactly I'm going to play. I think I'm probably going to play the same thing. Yeah, that seems good to me. Let's just do that. And we can turn this one off here, and this one as well. We can turn off the library. Be gone, library. Turn on this and that. The click will have be off anyways. Turn on that, and we're not gonna record with the guitars, so that's all we're gonna be working with right now. Okay. And actually, same thing as before. I'm gonna set up a loop and work with that. And actually, this one doesn't have to be as long because this one goes into that other riff right away. And maybe we should actually listen to that other riff first so we can find a good transition for the two parts. Something I don't like so much is when you have like one riff and then you have like a cut and then the other riff starts. And I like it when in the recording you can hear like a slide up to that second riff or something. In this case, we have a situation like that where the second riff is a lot higher. So where's the bass? Down here. So let's listen to that. All right, let's find that on the bass again. Where did I play that? Oh, okay. How did I play that? It was probably a much easier way than this. And that is what I'm hearing. Well, maybe this. Is it low string? Maybe. No, open string. I think it is. Okay, I have to figure out an exact finger pattern for this because I'm not quite sure yet exactly where the different accents are going to fall. Because it switches back and forth. You hear that? See, that's what I'm like recording with headphones. Ugh. Okay, I think I'm gonna, instead of doing a slide at the end, I like that better. I like the slides throughout it, and I think I like the slides up better than I like the slides down. And I think I want to omit the slide for the last one. Okay, so that's what it's going to be. Now, we're coming at this from... Oh, that's going to be challenging. Luckily, I can use an open string for the da 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 da. Okay. Yeah, I like the slide there for sure. Okay, let's try it. Can't hurt, right? And I think in this case it's not even so bad because I think we probably can cut in this case. I think that's probably going to work. Because there's no sliding up to another note or anything like that. It's because it's on completely different strings. So in this case, since we're skipping a string anyways, stripping a skin, no, not really. That's a different channel. You can watch that on my other channel, the Hannibal Lecter channel. Anyways, moving on to the bass part here. Okay, let's record that. All right, there we go. Okay, that was the trial run, folks. I'm going to turn off flex for this one because we won't be needing it. Not yet, anyways. And I'm going to shorten that up a little bit. Here we go. 1, 2, 4, 6. All right, one more. 1, 2, 3. I think if I was less clowning around, I'd probably do a good take for every once in a while. So, 2, 3, 4. Okay, I think the last one was pretty good. So let's see what we have here and work with that. Okay. Yep, I'm using one guitar stand for 2 guitars. Sue me. Okay. Oh, that thing is hot. My ears must be super red. That's one of the many reasons I don't like working with headphones. Still better than in-ear headphones, though. Okay. Let's see. That's a mean, nasty sound, man. I really like this bass guitar. Why is there some strings ringing in the background with all of these? Yeah. Well, it's fine. You guys hear that, though? There's a little bit of a bang in the background. Anyways. It's not that bad. I don't think you're going to notice it in the whole track. And since we're only going to be hearing this together with the guitars, it's going to go under anyways. You know, you have to know how to pick your battles. I'd rather spend my time on other things. Oh, that's a good one. I like this one. What about this one, though? That's also good. I like this one just a tad better, I think. Might be different on any given day. So, there's that always, of course. Nope. Nope. All of them aren't really good. I think that's probably my favorite. Okay. And then somewhere around here. So here's already a little bit more difficult to see where the new note begins, isn't it? Oh. Yeah, that's pretty good. And in this case, I do want to pay attention to clipping, actually. To those clicks. Just because this isn't something... I hate that. Okay, let's see. Where do we have a pass through 0? Nope. That's not going to work. So I'm going to have to watch the curve up here. That looks pretty good. Without the click. Good. Okay. Very nice. All right. Timing-wise, I'm not happy with this one, but it sounds really nice. Yeah, this one's clearly better, but this one here is this one here is clearly better. But let's see. Nope. Nope. This one here is clearly the best, so we have to just work with that later and flex to make that work. Now we have one of those again. Nope. Well, this certainly has a lot of attitude. That's fine. Works better than I anticipated. It just sound very British there. Tell me in the comments, yo. Gotta do more of that shit. If only to mock other YouTube channels. I'm sorry, that always just really bothers me. People are like, how do you think I did? Tell me in the comments. Alright. Just whenever I see that, I'm like, oh, yep, that's an instant unsubscribe. No, usually I don't even subscribe to those kind of channels. Nice. I like it. Okay. Moving into Flex now. There we go. Turn Flex on. In this case, obviously, we're going to be using monophonic since basses are typically monophonic. And what's the tempo again? We can just use eighth notes. And let's leave the click on, actually. Ah, man, the pitch here is... Or is that the stretching? Okay, there's an issue here. There's an issue here as well. This also seems really late. Okay, maybe we should go through it from the beginning. I'm not sure, maybe I missed something already. This one here seems a little bit late. The date do. I think this feels like it should be a little earlier. And also the de do do do. I think this could even be a little earlier. I like that. Okay, and then maybe move that here. Not sure about that. That's fine. Oh. Okay. Some more issues here. I would say move that forward. Okay. Something going on here. That sounds like it's being stretched a lot. What does this look like normally? Like this? I think that's actually fine if we move that just back a little bit. Nope. See, those are the artifacts that we were talking about, right? That's something I'm trying to avoid at all costs, obviously. See, that's just because it was stretched badly. And if the timing is of the original comp, of the original take, is good or good enough already, then this whole thing's not gonna introduce many artifacts, at least. Okay, a little bit further back, maybe. Or maybe not. Yep, nice. This one can move further, but forward a little bit, I think. And if at this point you're wondering, what the fuck am I watching? Then welcome to my world. Because that's pretty much the day in, day out stuff for me. And I ask myself that very question every day. Okay. Now let's do some reamping here. Again, through the Kemper. With that other amp that I was talking about. Now we have to set up the... Or should we just record this other part as well? Let's just record that other section, because you already know what the reamping looks like anyways. Let's just record that second section. I already practiced it, so... Let's just do that one. What's the chat saying? Anything you guys want to know about? I could use a push-to-talk solution. That's not a bad idea, actually. I would have to set that up, though. I like stripping skins. Dude! Would be a great band name. Because I'm still looking for a name for me as in for this rock project, Stripping Skins. I mean, it's a pretty heavy metal name, but man, it sounds like Tool, very dark. Cool, man. Bass guitars with 5 strings are so sexy. They sure are. I love them. Yeah. I find sometimes zero cross works really well, but sometimes it doesn't do anything at all. Definitely hit or miss. I'm not sure what you mean by zero cross, actually. Louis Bellamy says, do you know if it exists, if an obscure way exists to install Logic on PC? I don't. I have to switch from Mac to Windows and don't want to start from zero on FL or Cubase. Ah, that's a shame. I would say the best thing I could probably recommend would be to just switch to Studio One, because it's fairly similar to Logic. I hear it's even better than Logic, and it works on both platforms. Renee had a good question somewhere. Oh yeah, okay. The double waves, all right. Yeah, it's just because it was recorded in stereo. Zero cross is a Cubase function, all right. I'm not familiar with that one. That forces cuts to zero amplitude, from minus to plus. Oh, I see, okay. Vice versa, so as to rid of the click pop. Personally, don't use it. Phase and crossfade is my preferred way. Okay. Did you play those riffs yourself? Yeah. I mean, you saw me play them just now, right? And I did play all the demo tracks as well, and I wrote all of this, of course. So this whole session is me, and I'll also program the drums. Everything really on this project is going to be me, pretty much. Okay. How hard is it to choose a name for a song? Sure is. Yeah, sure is hard. Okay. We hear you. We hear the computer output. We hear the Kemper output. You do? Interesting. Interesting. Okay. I'm not sure if you are. I think you're probably just hearing this, because this is just the clean DI signal. It sounds pretty brutal, though. I like it. Okay. Let's record that verse. And again, let me play that. I still have to figure out how exactly to play it. I'm not entirely sure what the best version of it is. They're all kind of similar. I want something that's maybe a little bit obscure, a little bit weird rhythmically, because I do like the switch between where the accents lie. You know, where the low strings are. But I don't want it. I want it to be still fairly straightforward. Yeah, so I think I'm going to come in on the one on this note. All right, so that's what we're going to do. Let's just record that and not think about it too much. Okay, because thinking is overrated anyways when it comes to music. It really is, folks. Like, it's so silly. You know, the way holistic songwriting started was actually through a workshop that I gave on concepting. So my whole idea back then, that was like my whole jam back then, was like really thinking my songs through before I even put a single note on paper or in the DAW or whatever you want to call it. And yeah, it was really interesting because like once I like put it into words and gave it as a workshop, it just made complete sense. And everyone in the audience was like, this makes complete sense. It's such a smart way to write songs. It's just genius, you know, and I felt really smart. And then I had a writer's block for a couple of months after that because I refused to write anything that wasn't using this approach, and it really didn't work because overthinking things, at least for me, and I know a lot of people that said the same thing, just really, really doesn't work. And the best way to do it typically is to just start writing because it inspires you to write, you know? You write something down, you're like, oh, wow, cool, I could do this with that, you know? And it becomes a positive feedback loop because you constantly have new ideas as you're writing. Whereas if you're making up everything in your head, you're kind of limited. You know, you can't process. Like I can't think of like guitars and drums possibly, and maybe bass together. Like I can hear full arrangement in my head, but when it comes to like adding a second guitar that maybe plays a slightly different harmony, ooh, then things get really complicated. You know, I can't possibly picture that. And some of the stuff that you'll hear in this track here, I can show you an example in just a second, uses some of those things that I couldn't possibly have made up in my head, just because the harmonies there just happened because I was just playing around on guitar, seeing like, what's an interesting color that I can add to this that really adds something new to this that I didn't expect, something that I wouldn't have come up with otherwise. So, long story short, that was the beginning of holistic songwriting, because I really learned that I really love teaching. I love standing in front of a crowd, which is unfortunate because I still love that, and I don't get that opportunity as much as I would like to. Like, I would love to do a lot more workshops and stuff like that, and now I'm pretty much stuck to my computer all day. But anyways, I like teaching anyways, and I love this, and helping people is just fantastic. But what it also showed me was, and this is I think the bigger lesson that I took from it, is to always make sure to verify my claims, you know, because I said it and it sounded so logical, it made complete sense, but it doesn't work. And so for the addiction formula, I made really sure that I checked every single one of my claims. And I found more often than not, like, hey, you know what? I had been assuming this thing that just really isn't true. And that happened so many times, you wouldn't believe how many times that happened. It's just like you remembering things wrong, or you want to hear certain things in a track that aren't actually there. You have your, predispositions as to how you're listening to music. And it just can really screw up your logic. And if you find actual examples in the real world, it just, sometimes you don't. For a couple of the techniques in the addiction formula, I was like, oh yeah, this song does that. And then I listened to it and was like, oh no, it actually doesn't. This is something I must have thought was there, but it never was. This is something I come up with myself. And maybe it's still a good technique, but it's really not there in this example. So anyways, let's record that part, shall we? Oh, I wanted to show you the other part that came out of that didn't come out of something that I pre-planned, but that was that happened creatively in the moment. And so what I often do when I write songs is I will, like, as you saw, I think I wrote that riff first, like the that part, like, I think came pretty early. I think together with the drums probably. And then the next thing I did, I wanted to have some additional color for the chorus that added something to it that really wasn't there before. So I didn't just want to add like fifths or something like that. I really wanted to have some color in there. If we were talking about Metallica terminology from that Artist Series episode, I wanted to have some more female character in there, right? I didn't want it to be all just heavy in the chorus. I wanted there to be some colorful element as well to balance that out. So here's what I come up with. Here is, I think, the original guitars, and maybe we can turn those off because we already recorded those. Right, so those are the originals. We don't need those. But I think here's the... Right, okay, perfect. So it started off with this in the chorus. Right, so that's just the riff. And I added those guitars to it, which by themselves sound like this. Again, demo level recordings here. So together it sounds like this. I think it sounds even more dramatic, it adds something that I couldn't have possibly imagined. And this is maybe not the best example of this. I have some other tracks where I'm like, yeah, this is something that is just so weird and so cool. Sometimes you just find something that's just like, it almost feels like it's coming from a different key. Like, this is still very tonal. It still feels very tonal. And there are some tracks where I play something and I'm not thinking about what I'm doing theoretically, and this is a really important part of it. I'm just playing around. I'm like, oh, this note here sounds really weird, and maybe it's a sharp 11 or whatever it is, and I'm trying not to think about it. I'm just like, this is really such a weird color, but the more I play it, the more I'm getting used to it, and the more I like it, and that's usually the stuff that ends up in my tracks. And again, this is things that you cannot possibly pre-plan through concepting or anything like that. Okay. But long story short, let's get back to this and record some bass guitar here. Again, if you weren't watching from the very beginning of this live stream, I'm doing this as a sort of advertising for the Patreon channel, where once we hit 60 patrons, I want to do this kind of thing, the live streams with me talking through some of my recordings and the songwriting process especially. So right now we're just talking about recording, but I want to do this for songwriting as well and for the creative process in Logic. you know, I want to be doing this weekly in a live stream. And as soon as we hit 60 patrons on Patreon, that's what's going to happen. So please, folks, subscribe. This is really what it's about. And I think it's such a cool thing to watch someone actually put those tracks together. Because this, even though it seems simple, took me years to figure out. You know, it's all these small nuances that seem really simple here. But figuring out how exactly to set things up, how to find the exact right guitar amp sound, how to find the exact right bass amp, how to tune up your guitars and your basses, how to prepare them for recording. It's all stuff that I want to be talking about. So, you know, please follow us on Patreon and become a subscriber, because I really want to share this stuff with you guys. I'm really excited about this kind of thing. Okay, I'm already getting hoarse. Okay, one of the funniest expressions to me in English, because I'm German, and one of the funniest expressions to me is just people saying, I'm a little hoarse. I'm like, no, you're not. I just always think that's hilarious. It's kind of something that I'm guessing a lot of little kids are laughing about as well. And that's just my humor. It's a really very highbrow kind of humor that I have, isn't it? Okay, so let's see how that works. Okay, I think I like that better. I think I'm not going to slide down to that note. I think I'm going to do... Alright, so... the slide is going to happen here. Not two slides. I think it's a little bit too much. Too sliderific. And yes, we're making up words now. How often am I going to play this? I think I'm going to go play through the whole thing. So let's see how that goes. Okay, you know what? Messed up the first one, first of all, with the slide immediately. The one that I was just talking about. And I want to do the same thing here as well. It's going to be difficult with the fingerings, but... yeah, if that's what it takes, I'll do that. Fuck that. That was horrible. And let's turn off flex. Take a drink every time you hear me say, let's turn off flex. It's too early in the morning. Don't do that. That was very loud. I think we probably have to turn the whole thing a little bit down a little bit, right? Yep, we're definitely hitting the red there. I'm not even sure if I like that. Maybe let's listen to that first before we make any rash decisions. Yeah, I think I like it. I think I think we can work with that. think probably should have started a little bit earlier with the crescendo, and also messed up that fingering a lot of times. I think I'm gonna just switch halfway through the bar. It's gonna look horrible. This is not something I wouldn't play it that way live for sure, but yeah, I think it's probably gonna work better if I just switch the fingering halfway through the bar. That was pretty cool. One more time. Again, did the crescendo too late. We do it one more time, and then I think we're gonna comp this together. Here's the perfect take. Okay, I already made 3 mistakes. Never say this is gonna be the perfect take. Always fails. As John Williams likes to say, the best take is always the penultimate take. And I think that's probably true for this one as well. Okay, now, let's see what we can do with this. And maybe let's take a look at the chat real quick first, if there's any questions that people might have. Okay. Hot ears. Okay. The guitar riff's lit. Cool, man. Love it. Do a slide note. Yeah, there's a bunch of slide notes in there. Trying to start a YouTube channel for music too. Do you have any advice on how to convince my parents that I can do this? Not really, because I had my YouTube channel for 1.5 years before it really took off, and during that time I had like 300 subscribers. How to convince your parents that you can do this? I mean, make a couple of videos and show them that they're really fucking great, you know? I mean, how do you convince anyone of anything that you can do something? Just friggin' do it and do it amazingly. Make your parents proud, you know? Show them that, like, they're wrong and you're right. And this isn't always as easy because sometimes they have just set in their mind that that's not how it's, that's just not what they want for their son. Zane is a male name, is it? I think so, yes. So, you know, I know that problem from a couple of my friends. I have a couple of friends who are starting YouTube now as well, and their parents aren't too excited about it. Understandably so, because YouTube is very difficult to make money from. And I'm not making money from YouTube, just to be clear on this. I'm making money through my book and through my courses that I'm selling through my website. YouTube is just my marketing platform, so to say. If you were to look at it that technically, that's how it works. All right. Anyways, be good. Yeah, exactly. Do you find that electronic music is going to take the market of music in the future? Man, I don't know. It's hard to say. Because, you know, obviously I cannot look into the future. I think my idea is that it's probably there's going to be some more rock in the future. I don't know what it's gonna look like. But I don't know. I'm with my music, man. I'm trying to bring back some nostalgia of the '90s and early 2000s, and we'll see how that goes. I mean, I'm not expecting a huge turnout in terms of success or in terms of money making. This is a passion project for me. I just love working on this kind of music, and it just really gets me going. I love getting creative with this kind of stuff because it's exactly what I like. It's just 4 instruments, 2 guitars, bass, and drums, and plus vocals, of course. So it's very straightforward. Everything that you hear is the writing, pretty much. Like the sounds, yeah, they're kind of important. There's a better preset for rock guitar than there's things that are good and things that are bad for sure, but mostly it's the writing, because anyone can kind of pull up a cool guitar sound, but write something good, that's kind of difficult. And so for me, it's a passion project, and it's purely writing. There's very little actual production involved. And what we're doing right here with this recording and stuff like that, peanuts. When I'm producing a pop track, it's so much more work. So this to me is just fun because it's fairly quick. I can do 2 or 3 takes. I play all of those instruments, so the timing is going to be fairly good. I don't have it to do too much work on it. I think it sounds good fairly quickly. And so I can really focus on the writing. And so my hopes are that rock is going to have a comeback, and I think it might, since we had the 70s and 80s now in music, and now the 90s, which were more grunge, might resurface again. And so I'm hoping for some more guitar stuff. This is a really shitty pick. It's already half broken, and I just bought it a couple of days ago. Maybe I'm playing too loudly. Anyways. So yeah, I think rock has a chance to come back for sure. I'm not sure in what shape or form. I think stuff like "Shut Up and Dance" is probably a good indicator of where things might go in the future. Not sure, which is like very poppy kind of rock stuff. It's the shiny stuff, shiny, bright, young sound. Anyways, I'm not sure. Zane says, but I'm afraid that they will find out and I'll be in trouble. Because Locke said. You don't have to convince your parents to start YouTube. Just work for it and do it yourself while you're doing your things you have to do. It's one of those kind of situations. I mean, I was going to say you could talk to them and explain your point of view. I don't know if that's going to help. If it's not going to help, it's going to be really difficult. You can start as soon as you move out. I don't know how old you are. Moving out from your parents' house might make things sometimes easier. I don't know. Maybe that's the solution. It just means you have to wait a little bit longer. Making a YouTube channel behind your parents' back while you're still living at home is going to be really difficult, I think. If you're living in your own place and you're still afraid that they're going to find out by just finding you on YouTube, depends. If they're on YouTube much, then yes, that might be a problem. If not, then I wouldn't worry about it too much. They might find out about friends and family, of course. It's a difficult situation. I think you have to talk to your parents about it if you can. Otherwise, man, it's a shitty situation. Life isn't always easy, and this is probably one of the harder things about it, that you want to do something and your parents are against it or your family's against it. Man, my family has always been very supportive. I'm very lucky with that, but I know a lot of people who don't have that same luck. So anyways, if you would be happy, why would they make trouble? Well, Zephrophane? I can't pronounce her name. Anyways, yeah, it's not always like that, unfortunately. Sometimes parents are a little bit more old-fashioned when it comes to that because they don't see YouTube as a genuine source of income for people. And it is really quite hard to have a proper income with YouTube these days. And it's getting harder and harder. And with Article 13, things are going to get even tougher, I think, to get noticed on YouTube. So, your parents are right. You can't make a lot of money with this. But if it's just as a hobby and this is your thing that you want to do in your free time, in your spare time, then I don't think it's something that your parents can forbid you. And if it ever takes over, like if you start making good money from it, then I don't think they would have anything to say against that anyways. So maybe that's an argument that you can come up with. Just say like, hey, I'm going to do this in my free time, and it's just going to be this small thing for me. My focus is still going to be on my studies or whatever they're asking you to do. And if it takes off, and if you're starting to make money with that, you can say like, hey, you know what? I'm actually making more money with YouTube than I'm making with whatever else you're studying. So maybe that can be an argument. Riff's a great earworm. Glad to hear that, Zane. Thanks. What's the matter with YouTube? If they see that this is really what you wish for, there won't be a problem, don't you think? Yeah, if only it were that easy. Some parents are quite difficult with that because they want the best for their kid, and sometimes the best for their kid is, in their eyes, just make good money, have a solid income, like that you can depend on. I know the situation. It's quite difficult often. It's really hard to convince someone who's lived in a very different life their entire life, you know, who's had to work really hard for their money, and YouTube is just passive income essentially. It's a really quite different business model that it's really hard for some people to wrap their heads around. So you could show them some examples, possibly, if they're willing to listen to that. If they're willing to give you a chance, then that's something that you could probably do. I don't know. There's only one deal for your parents. You do what they want from you so they can't complain about what you are doing besides that. I mean, I think you totally should start your own YouTube channel. And because you have to do what makes you happy, man. I mean, that's ultimately what comes down to. If you're stuck in a job that you hate, that's not the ideal situation, right? If you're passionate about something, I think you should go follow it. And sometimes that means cutting ties with certain family members, unfortunate as that may be. Because in the long run, you're hurting your parents by being unhappy, right? If you're an unhappy person, your parents are going to notice that, and that's not going to have good consequences. Even if you're not, being sad around them is one thing, but possibly you're shitty to them, or they see that you're depressed, or something else might happen, So, yeah, if you're depressed with your current situation, then that's definitely not something your parents want in the long run. They might think that it is. They might think it might make you happy, and it might. You might be able to deal with whatever you're starting right now. But you never know. So let's see. I'm 15 years old, so I still live with my parents, so it's going to be difficult. Oh, you're just 15 years old. Okay. Well, you're just 15, man. Don't worry too much about that stuff. If you're passionate about it, I mean, focus on school, and, because school is important. I do agree with that, and I'm very happy that I paid a lot of attention in school, because it teaches you a certain discipline that is very vital and important for when you're self-disciplined, for self-discipline, and when you're working as a freelancer, as I am. It's really important to have that discipline. So I'd say stick to school and learn to follow systems and learn to deliver on time. And that part is what you should be focusing on. And, who cares about history? Or personally, I don't care so much about history, certain kinds of history at least. You kind of, you do it, or for maths, I don't use maths that much anymore. More now than I did in the last couple of years, but still, a lot of the things that I learned in school I don't really use anymore. But what I did learn in school was delivering on time, making sure I show up on time, reliability, self-sustainability, all those things. All those things that you learn in school that are not on the curriculum, that are still a big part of it. So I think still focus on that. Make sure you deliver your shit, and do it on the side, man. Okay, I think that's all I'm gonna spend on this question. And let's see what else we have. If you want more, you can always come become a patron, because on Patreon I do a live stream already every single week, where I answer questions, and we listen to your songs together. So you can send in songs, and I analyze them. So that's kind of what I'm doing right now on Patreon. But the next step, in case you're just tuning in, would be to have a weekly live stream of me doing pretty much what I'm doing here, having a live stream of me recording music or writing music. So that's what I'm really excited about, and that's something I want to share with you. As soon as we get to 60 subscribers on Patreon, 60 patrons as they call it, we're going to start with that. Maybe the Holistic Songwriting Squad should show up and demonstrate in front of your parents' house. That would be hilarious. If you're not being a bad person and not hurting yourself or others, they'll come around, man. You're their son. And Sean, with most people, it is like that, actually. If you want something enough and you show your parents how happy something makes you and how enthusiastic you are about it, and that you're getting better and that you're delivering good results, most people do come around, because most people, the love for their children is the stronger thing. So I still say do it. If you're passionate about it, do it. But stick to it and show your parents that you mean business, that you're serious about it, and that you can take a failure as well. And eventually they might come around. They might not either, though. That's the unfortunate bit. But they might, and that's what it's all about, right? Okay. more about that. Love your channel. Thanks, recordingstudio9.com. Call out your name. Sydney, Australia here. Cool. Very nice. I've actually been thinking about going to Australia next year, or maybe the year after that, 2020, and also visit New Zealand. Because I just saw that movie, Hunt for the Wilder People again. Fantastic movie. I really love it. Taika Waititi is one of my favorite directors because he did, What We Do in the Shadows, which is just one of the funniest movies ever. Like Shaun of the Dead was my favorite horror comedy up until that point, and then What We Do in the Shadows came out, and I was like, this is just the funniest shit ever. So I'm a huge fan of that movie. And then I watched Hunt for the Wilder People, and it shows New Zealand, and it's just so beautiful there. Unbelievable. So that's something I definitely want to check out. And then I found out that a couple of friends of mine moved there. I'm like, well, now I have a place to stay, so that's definitely going to happen, or we're going to have a place to stay. Vulgar Broadcasting says, I'm a guitarist, but I'm lost when it comes to making the beat in a DAW with no access to a drum kit. So I have a course for that, actually. Like all the drums that you see here in this project, I program myself. So you can check out my course. It's called the Drum Writing Master Files, or the Drum Writing for Non-Drummers. So if you go into the link in the description, the first one, take a pro course, download free stuff. That's the one. You can check out that course, which is pretty much shows you what I do. It doesn't go as far as what I'm showing here, but that's an update that I've planned for next year. I think January is probably likely that I'm going to do an update then to show you exactly how I program these drum grooves. Favorite metal album? I mean, I'm a huge Deftones fan, so it would probably be a Deftones album. And right now, my favorite Deftones albums are Diamond Eyes, probably still the highest. Around the Fur. Saturday Night Wrist, probably. I know a lot of people don't like that album, but I didn't like it at first either, but it's really grown on me. There's a couple of really cool tracks on there. Oh, this is so difficult. I really like White Pony as well, of course. Everyone's favorite album. I love White Pony. It has so many good tracks on it. I always forget how many good tracks are on there. It's only when I return to it like a couple years later, I'm like, oh yeah, sure, that was on this thing. White Pony's fucking fantastic. But man, Diamond Eyes is just my favorite album because it's just so brutal and it's just straight up fucking rock and roll, you know? It's just so heavy. So, okay. But I also really like Break the Cycle by Stained. I just think the writing on that one is just really, really good. I really love Chocolate, what's it called? Chocolate Starfish and the Hot Dog Flavored Water by Limp Bizkit. I really think that's such a fun album. And if you want the heavier version of that, then the first one, $3 Bill You All, is also really fun. Really messy production, and I like it. Toxicity by System of a Down is great. Although probably Steal This Album is probably... I like that one better probably just because it was the first one that I listened to. And it's a little bit more melodic. I like both. I really like Toxicity as well, of course. Yeah, those are probably my favorite metal albums, and I know a lot of people will disagree that it's not really metal. I like LD50 by Mudvayne. Really fucking great album. Slipknot, you know, Subliminal Versus Part 3 or whatever it's called. It's a good album. You know, I really like the new metal stuff, in case you haven't noticed yet. Okay, we should get back to this. So we recorded this, and we have 5 takes. So let's do a comp out of this and see what we can do with that. And by the way, if you have questions like this, Patreon is the perfect place to ask these kind of questions, because that's every single week I do a live stream where I answer questions just like this, you know, not just like what's your favorite album, but like songwriting questions. So if you say like, hey, I have a writer's block, how can I get through it? Or, you know, I need to find a good melody for these lyrics, or the other way around, or how do you get this sound out of that, or whatever. That's all questions that I typically can answer. So it would be really cool if you became part of the community. So, okay. All right, headphones. Ear warmers, okay. Bing, bing, bing. Oh, that's just louder, so I'm just going to ignore that last one. think this one has the best balance of like low and high notes. The other ones were a little bit too accented on the high notes, I think. Okay, let's maybe take this one as a basis here. Okay, so there we have a little bit of an issue. The sound gets a little bit thinner here. Maybe we can find another take that doesn't get so thin. Oop, what happened there? Da-da-da. Oh, that's a shame. You know what, let's just stick with that one. And there's a little bit of string buzz. Maybe we can help that with a different take. Nope, that's fine. It's unfortunate, but, you know. What are you gonna do? Play it again? Huh. Oop. This one's still the best, I think. That's fine. Still no better take? See, this one here I don't like. The difference here is... Maybe we can take one of the upper ones here. Nope, nope, that's not good. I think I like this one the best, actually. Ding, ding, ding. Nope. Did we say the penultimate take was the best one? There we go. It's just that this here seems a little weak. And here we have a little bit of too much of that notes ringing. Nice. Okay, I think we had a better ending than this. Nice. I like that one. Okay. So that's that. Comp that together. And let's flex it. I think it's all eighth notes, right? Yep. Okay. So this should work. This seems a little late. Maybe tiny a little bit. Ooh. Nope, that's not good. Again, artifacts. And this is obviously cut in the wrong place. I say cut, it's obviously not cut. Okay, here's an issue as well. Oh, you can even see it right here. Okay. And this is too late forward now, is it? Ah, what's going on here? Oh, that's going on. Too much stretching happening. Let me listen one more time. Adventurous. Ooh, that's not good. That's not good at all. Hope we can salvage this. Oh, rats! That's really bad. Well, you know what? We can just copy it from the front. So just remember that bar 23 is faulty. There's also an issue here, is there? This sounds really weird. Something's going on here. There's some artifacts here. Dring, dring. Do you hear that? Hope that's not just going to move this here a little bit further back. See? Because basically what we had there was two different attacks from two different takes, I'm guessing. And moving them closer together makes it sound more like one attack. And this is the kind of advice that you're never going to find in any course. You have to watch an entire session like this, I think, to find those little details. Because this is stuff that takes me years to figure out, you know. I mean, not this technique specifically, but this is all these little bits of information. This took me years to figure out. And I think that's why you need to watch a full live stream of something like this, because this is not something I would ever come up with in a course as well. Like, I would never get the idea to say, like, hey, you know what, I should maybe talk about this in a course. This is something I just do as it comes up. Oh, there's an issue here for sure. Yeah, and this one is definitely too early now. Maybe, I'm not sure. There's an issue here somehow. Maybe let's just move it right onto the beat. It also sounds as if there's two attacks, doesn't it? Better. Nope. Okay, see? Sometimes it's funny, like when I see the whole wave moving over, I know that the program has made a mistake, because I don't play that untightly. I'm not the tightest player, but I know that I can play better than that. Oh, what's going on here? Okay, we have another issue in bar 27, so this was definitely bad timing. Except maybe... I like the ending. I like the crescendo for sure. And here we have an issue, which I didn't even pick up on. Okay, so that's all good. Am I clipping here? I'm not clipping, right? Oh, damn, am I clipping? I didn't realize that. I selected the wrong take then, probably. Is it noticeable? I think it's fine. It's not too much of an issue. Since we're going to run this through a Kemper anyways, I think it's not too much of an issue. So bar 27 was the issue, right? Yeah, so this is a little bit of an issue, and bar 23. Okay. So let's just take this bar here. Let's see if that one sounds fine. Yeah, so that one's good. So let's just move that over here. And the way I like to do it is I just like to cut these up, because I have overlap on, so there's nothing destructive happening in any case. Oh, not you. Crossfade that with like a few milliseconds. Let's see if that works. I don't like that. I think I want more of the transient, because right now it feels like the transient got sucked out by the crossfade. The timing feels iffy. Is that just me? It's not good. It's not good. Not good enough. So maybe if we cut it here. Let's try that. Okay. Let's see. There is an issue there, isn't there? Did it copy the... it did copy the flex markers. You know what? Maybe, let's go back to that bar. What was it? Bar 15. You know, maybe we can also help this with the transient. Move that back a little bit. Come on. Where was it? It's this one here. Okay. You know what? First things first. Let's first maybe this should work. Yeah, okay. Let's first bounce this down. I think it's going to make it a little bit easier to work with. Okay, so bar 15. And by the way, I just deleted that old track. I try to not have too many tracks in my, not too many duplicates of one another in my session. I could just hide it, but that's also a good one. I think I'm just going to take that one. Dude, that worked so well. I might not even have to do this, but I will crossfade that in just to be sure. That second part isn't ideal. So I'm turning the click off now because the cut is happening right on the click. And if there's any kind of clipping or any weird sound, if the click is on, I can't hear that. So that's why I have to turn it off. Let's see if there's another moment that we can cut this on. That works. And then it's bar 27, right? Yeah, same issue. Okay, so this seemed to be a difficult bar to play. All right, that works. I'm happy with that. Let's just do a crossfade in the beginning here as well. All right. So, I think we're ready to go into the Kemper. What do you guys think? Let's move into the chat and see what you folks are saying. Can't hear the tracks? You can't hear the tracks? Really? Is everyone else hearing stuff? Grüß aus Neustadt. Spewy Puke? Hey, man. Just recorded an original song following your ideas and soon to have it released. Cool, man. Okay, everyone else can hear the tracks. That's good. Just making sure. All right, now you won't be hearing the tracks because I have to switch. I have to switch the outputs of Logic so I can do some reamping here. So give me a minute. And yeah, I really want to find a better solution for that because that's not really working for me with the constant like finding the right input and stuff like that. That's what she said. So let's go. Let's just duplicate this track here. Wait, what? Isn't this our final? Oh, right. We didn't do a recording of the Kemper with the bass yet. I completely forgot about that. So, you know, first thing we should probably do is then match those two to one another. So we went down about 6 decibels on that one, I think. So let's bring this one up here. Oh, okay. Hold on. So this one is flexed, yes? Okay. So we should probably bounce this one down. I don't want to have any problems later on with the flexing and stuff. So let's bring this one up, because this one here is not flexed anymore. This already bounced. Bounced down. So let's see if we can find the right moment to switch between these two. Come on. Here we go. So this is starting right on the beat. Let's see if that works. Yeah, it's a hard break for sure. Add a little bit of a crossfade to that. Oh wow, what's that? Oof. What the hell is going on here? How did I not hear that before? That's a pretty loud click. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm just gonna go into this. This shouldn't have happened, because typically I notice those kind of things while I'm editing. So what I'm gonna do here, this is an exception to the rule. I'm just gonna go in, find the click. Where is it? Oh. Is that it? That's the click? Okay. Must be this thing right here. Whoops. Oh, we're not in the... Oh yeah, this changed, right? Yeah, here we go. No, I just wanted this. Okay. Okay. Well, this doesn't look right, does it? So what we're going to do is we're going to take this. No, not you. Oh yeah, that's fine. And then change the gain. So this says change gain. And let's go down maybe 6 decibel. Maybe that's already enough. Looks pretty good to me. It's still there, isn't it? So let's... I wonder if this is going to work. I hope it will. It's still there. Why is it? I wonder if that's even what it is. If we could only zero in on which part is causing the problem. I wonder if we... What happens if we just take it out completely? So do silence here. Okay, it's still in there. So that's not the problem, apparently. We want it to go here. Ugh, what's happening? Why is this so complicated? As you can see, I don't work with this editor a whole lot. Let's see if we can find what the problem is here. Just let me zoom in. It's not that difficult. I want to zoom in here where the locator is. Is that so complicated? Is this what it... Is this the thing that I need to activate? No. There's another issue here, maybe. That could be it as well. Maybe that's it. So let's add some silence here as well. Or maybe let's just change the gain here. Did that help? Not really, right? Let's go for silence instead. Huh, see? That took care of it. Nice. Cool. Again, things I would never ever think about talking about in a workshop or a course, because it's a really small little thing. But if you ever have that issue with a click, you can literally find it in the track. And just so we're clear here, where was that? Can we just undo this? And where was it? Can we still find it? It was somewhere around here. There it is. Okay, so this is the section that we were talking about. Nope. Right, so that's where we want it. So, okay. So now I have to go back, right? Yes, okay, so there it is. I'm confusing myself here. So you can see the issue here was this moment here, where it jumped from this amplitude to this amplitude. And that was, it's quite a difference so the speaker is moving this way, and then all of a sudden it should be over there, and that's causing the click. It's this very rapid movement that it has to make, basically. So if we just select that and take it out, that takes care of the problem. And that is a pretty hard transition, but it's also one in volume, so we're just gonna decrease that one a little bit. I'm not gonna decrease it so that the two line up, because that's not really what's happening. The higher strings are actually softer, so I'm guessing it's probably more something like this. Even further, probably. All right, sounds about right. And while we're at it, why not add this to the chorus as well? And bring those in for the second verse. Just doing some copy paste here, and before we move on, I should probably take care of these transitions here so we make sure that those work. A little bit before the beat. I never try to cut it exactly on the beat, always a little bit before, so we make sure that we don't cut off that transient. Ooh, I think we might even have to go in a little bit earlier than that. No, the previous one was better. So heavy. Jesus Christ. Okay, and then we have another chorus over here. Another chorus over here. That was my horrible Italian mafia impression. Horrible. Okay, so there was a little bit of a click, I think. So, again, do a little bit of a crossfade between those two. Okay, this should be enough. And then we have that whole bridge, and then we have a double chorus at the end. Or maybe even a 1.5 chorus. I'm not even sure anymore exactly what happens there. Yeah, it's a 1.5 chorus, exactly. So maybe let's move it like this. There we go. All right, and now all that's left to do is record that. We also have this bridge though, so maybe we should take care of that first before we even get into that. What the hell is happening here? Nope, we want input 2, please. So actually, before we do some reamping, maybe we should record that that bridge. What do you guys think? Is that a good idea? Record the bridge first, or should we? I think that makes more sense, right? You must be tired. Yes, I'm a little bit tired. Record a slide transition for bar 12. Okay. What's bar 12? So doing... Yeah, that's not a bad idea. Maybe we should do that. You don't want credits, writing credits for this now, do you? All right. I think we need to do something like that, yeah. Get the transition working a little bit better. Okay, I think that works. That's a really good idea, actually. Who came up with that? That was Ivan Starikov. writing credits for oldest trick in the book. Yeah. Ivan, thanks so much. That's a really good tip. We'll do that. Okay, do that a couple of times. It's tricky. Can't get the timing exactly right. You know, my fingers start to hurt. Come on. Still not completely right, is it? Maybe I'm just, I don't know, splitting hairs here. I think it's fine, actually. Okay, I think we can use that. I think this takes fine. Okay. Let's take that and plant it into this and make sure it fits into that. Probably we're going to cut it right around there somewhere. And somewhere around here. Yeah, that seems to be about right. And this looks really weird, mixing mono with stereo signals, but, you know, what are you going to do? We could, can we zoom in? And it changes to mono, right? Oh, yeah, well, that's a little bit too much zoomed in. Okay. Anyways, let's add some crossfades to that, and I'm going to be very precise with this. Huh. Interesting. Because that kind of shows us what the level should be. It's probably supposed to be a little bit lower. I think I want to do the cut a little bit later because I like this one definitely a lot better. The dado from this take. Okay. And then I think I want to do the cut here a little bit earlier as well, probably on the offbeat here. Okay, let's try that. It's really loud, isn't it? And there's still some clicking here. What can we do to solve that? Should we just... I'm not going to increase the crossfade because I always think that's kind of a cop-out. I'm trying to find a good spot to cut it rather than just increasing the crossfade. I think it just makes the problem even worse. So let's see. This seems just really fucking loud. You know why it's so loud? Because I bounced it down. That's the issue. So maybe if we bounce it down, that's going to give us the actual loudness that it was supposed to be. Let's try that at least. Is it softer? It is, right? But I should probably do it with the whole thing. Just so we have a little bit more freedom later on. Okay, we can delete that. Move that in here. And then have the cut here. And what did we say? Somewhere around there, right? And we want a crossfade on that. Didn't help. Great. Well, we're all learning as we go. But it's easier to match up the two waves now, at least. Yep, I'm happy with that. What do you guys think? Let's see what it sounds like in the whole thing, if that's too much. We wanted to turn those two on, so we can hear some guitars as well. Bass sounds really thin right now. That's going to change once we reamp it. So let's go to the bridge here, and let's maybe take another look at the At the chat. Okay, nothing much going on. So let's go to the bridge here. Where's that old bass? Oh man, that's a fucking mess. What was the riff again? So this is my old demo recordings here. As you can see, all cut up because I redecided a couple of times how I wanted the riff to sound like exactly. Well, that's going to be difficult to play. I think I need it low though, because this needs to sound like friggin' brutal and dark and low. I don't want it to be up here, even though it sounds cleaner. So what can I do to get the sound less muddy? So right now it sounds just like complete mud. Like this is horrible. Like not this. This is already quite bad, but this here is completely unacceptable. Like there's just no way that's ever gonna sound fat and brutal. You know, this is just gonna sound like... Okay. Maybe if I just palm mute it a little bit, so I can prevent the string from rattling too much. Maybe that's gonna help. Let's do a test recording and see if that holds true in practice. And this is wrong, obviously, because I'm recording in stereo, and I'm probably recording the click on this as well. So let's do it the real way here. And presumably we probably want to start a bar early here. 1, 2, 3, here we go. Okay, the timing wasn't very nice, but let's see. Those three were actually pretty nice. I think we can use those three. I mean, it's definitely super heavy and super dark, but you know, I don't really mind that. I think those three were pretty nice. I think it's just a tiny little bit before the beat. Not this first one though. The first one was fine. It's just these here. Maybe a little bit more even. Nope, nope, nope. Not quite. I feel like what's his name? Gene Simmons from Whiplash. Nope, nope. Too early, too late. It's constantly like I have a little. It's his name, right? Gene Simmons, the bald guy from Whiplash from the movie. I have a little Gene Simmons in the back of my head who always goes like, "Nope, too early. Do it again." Okay, so I don't like that take so much. I think I like these two definitely a lot better. So I'm just going to be working with those. Okay, the way I want to do this is... Okay, is there much of a post ring here? Okay, probably do a little bit of fade out here. Okay, and maybe we can take out some rumble here as well. Yeah, because we don't want all that. we want this to be fairly clean. So I decided, as you can hear, to remove those notes from here, just to add some more clarity. The guitars with the da 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 are gonna be by themselves there, and I think it's gonna make for a cleaner signal, and it's gonna sound even harder when the bass comes in after a little pause. You know, if the bass is playing the entire time, it's just rumble, 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 rumble. But if we have rumble, 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 pause, rumble, 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 then I think it's gonna sound a lot heavier this way. So that's the way I'm gonna go with this one. All right. How many more do we need? Oh, and there's a different part here as well, is there? All right, what's going on here? Where are the guitars? Is that the guitars? Oh, it is, I think. Okay. So we need to record one more. I think the first half we can just do like this. And yes, sometimes I just copy paste for certain things because the bass here is just playing a supportive role, whereas in the verse it's really playing a core function. So I did the whole take for that whole thing and not just like loop every single bar, because I feel like you can hear that after a while. I like how at certain points I crescendo a little bit, or at certain points I go louder, and you can really hear that it's not just one take that was looped the entire time, but it's really the whole thing was recorded in one go, sort of. Or that's at least the illusion that I'm giving, because of course I did some comping together certain parts. Okay, so for this one I need to go. Is that it? Man, I'm just... That's it, right? Am I tone deaf? I'm really unsure what this note is right now. Is that it? Should I do it on the high string or on the low string? I think I like that even better, like dun, da, 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 and then go back into that riff. I think it's gonna sound even heavier. So let's go with that. Those we can already move up here, so we can record on that one. We don't have to have another track here. And I think I'm gonna use the first half of this too. Just gonna cut that over here and just record the second half. Da, 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 da. It's the same note. I think that's just gonna work. Yeah, I played the wrong note. Silly me, silly me. Okay. Shut up, guitars. No one's talking to you. Ooh. I think I might have to record that a couple more times to get a really good take. Like that, I think. Okay. Ooh, that's coming in fairly late, so I think I'm going to take one that's a little longer. Oh, wow, I'm just way before the beat, aren't I? Look at that. That's horrible. Okay, I just have to redo that one more time, I think. And listen to the timing this time. Just pay a little bit more attention. Or is this completely out of time? No, it's a little before the beat. Maybe that's what kind of fooled me into it. See, this one is a little bit before it. That's fine, though. I think it's nice if it's at points, if it's a little bit rushed. That can be quite nice. So let's do that again. All right, here we go. Okay, a lot of rumble there. I think this last one was quite nice. I don't understand. Maybe I should go to low latency mode. I think that's probably the issue here. Let me do that one more time. What the hell is going on here? I honestly don't understand what's happening here. Can someone help me out? Why is this coming in so late? There must be something completely wrong here. See, now it sounds wrong. Yeah, that sounds right. So the issue must be with this sample here. Maybe we do have to stretch it after all. Yeah, I think that's the issue. So let's reduce that. Okay, so we do have to flex this anyways. All right. Well, if that's how it's got to be, then that's how it's got to be. Oh. That also means I can get to take off my headphones, though. That's good. Lost my plate there for a second. Okay. No, I can't because I have to listen to it. Oh, no. I hate headphones so much. Do you feel me? Comment below and subscribe. And don't forget to leave a like. Okay. Let's just do it like that. Delete fade. Okay, and let's flex this. No way around it, it seems. The last one here doesn't quite work, does it? So maybe somewhere around here. It's kind of hard to say. I think this one should probably go further back. I think that's where the issue was. This probably doesn't go exactly on the beat because it feels like it was... Oh, let's just do it like that. Find the right moment. Still feels like it's too late. Maybe let's start it on this one. There we go, that's better. And this one maybe in here. And the timing was really off. How did I not notice this? is what Miles Teller should have said from Whiplash. It's completely off. Horrible. Okay, so since the other ones are just copies of those, I'm just going to delete everything and just duplicate those, because I think it should also transfer the flex material. Does it? It does. Perfect. And this one I think was pretty good. Let's first make the edit up here maybe. Delete the fade and add in some crossfades. And I like to do it over here actually. This is much better than using the fade tool for that. I used to use the fade tool, but I do it this way now. This gives you more control. Like you can really go for really small millisecond values. Oh, it's still fairly muddy. All right, that works though. I'm happy with that. So let's bounce that down and bring that up here into our final track. We can delete this, I think. There we go. That sounds pretty good. Pretty good. Is the beginning cut off? I don't think it is. No. All right. I think we have our full track here now. What happens here? Okay, so here we have a little bit of a click at the end there. So I'm just gonna add, okay, so I can't add a fade here, so I have to do it manually with the fade tool. Let's just bring it in like that. Still a little bit of a click. I think we're just gonna move it back a little bit. Still tiny little bit of that click. I don't like it. Yeah, that's fine. Okay. So now we have that whole track, and while that's printing through the Kemper, I'm gonna take a look at the chat and see what's going on there. So let me just rewire this. And we can record. So this is a 5.6 as well. Yes. Okay, perfect. So recording through 5.6. This has to be a mono track and go out through output 3. For that, of course, I have to change my settings, which is why you won't be able to hear this happening. Universal audio. There we go. You know, while these seats here, I bought this this Gibson guitar stool, and while it's really great for playing guitar, it's really uncomfortable to work on when you're mixing and doing that kind of stuff. Anyways, so we're sending that out to output 3, and this is recording in 5 and 6. That looks good. This is set up as well. Okay, now let's see if the input is too high, whether we have to adjust it. We'll see that in just a second. Let me just check this part as well. So with this slider now, I can adjust how hard I want to send it into the Kemper. And that also is going to determine how much it's going to distort. And so I want to find a nice balance here before I print it. You know what? I can actually turn on my speakers, so you can hear it through the computer actually, but you can hear it through the microphone. Maybe that's going to help. So if I overdo it, if I send it in really hot, this is what it's going to sound like. Hear how it's not only getting louder, it's also getting more distorted? That's because, you know, it's clipping more. And now it's almost clean. So it's not just a question of loudness. I'm trying to find a good spot for the distortion. I forgot, we have to copy this over as well. Bang! It sounds like the bass guitar is extremely happy at that moment. Real humor right there. Okay, I'm gonna mute that, and we're recording now. You can still hear me though, right? You should be able to hear me. Let me check that in OBS. You should be, yes, okay, you're still hearing me. That's good. I wasn't just completely silent for the last couple minutes. All right, let's see if this is working. Looks pretty good. We don't have a ring off here at the end. I'm gonna record that later. I think for now, to show you guys how it works, this is plenty. If I'm gonna do analysis episodes of older music like swing, you know, I did study jazz for a couple of years, like in conservatory, in university, but I still don't feel equipped enough to like properly analyze pieces of music. So I don't think that's ever gonna happen, to be honest. I quite like swing music, but I don't feel like I'm at that level where I really have control of the music. You know what I mean? Like, I'm just in awe of these musicians, and it's really hard for me to get there. And I can write swing music, but all the subtleties just often escape me, you know, because I'm not into jazz enough, I think. J.K. Simmons, right? Yes. Gene Simmons is the Kiss bassist, right? That's how I got it confused. Cool. Any more questions from anyone? We can also... Okay, so there was a little discussion here earlier that I think is quite interesting. Yeah, click that like button. Only 16 likes so far. Out of curiosity, why not record 10 takes all at once and just pick a different composition out of the multi-record? Yes, that would have been possible. We'll pan left and right and set a small offset for stereo unless... Oh, no. Okay. Let's see. I'm going to turn off that click. It really is annoying me. Why is he doing that same part again? For stereo? Yes, for stereo. Usually for multi-track rhythms, so it sounds thicker. Yes. We'll pan left and right and set a small offset for stereo track unless you record in stereo, which most do not. Yeah, I do record in stereo, but I treat them as mono files essentially. And there's no small offset, man. Like, you definitely don't want that. Like, I don't want a small offset. That's going to mess up my timing. Like, I've spent so much time on the timing. Why would I set it off? Definitely not. I think you mixed up something there. Like, I think what you're probably thinking of is some people like to record just one performance and then double that, just duplicate the track as it is, and just offset one of them by a couple of milliseconds so that they sound as if so that the timing is slightly different. The problem with that is, and we're just done with our track here. The problem with that is that you're going to get all sorts of phasal cancellations. And the second you hit your mono button on your speakers, the whole, like, almost half of your guitars might disappear. You know, I'm not saying it will, but some part of it will for sure disappear. So that's definitely no option. It's definitely not an option for me because all my mixes have to work in mono as well. So don't do that. There's no moving shit around by milliseconds. I used to do that. It's a horrible technique and it really can mess up your stereo image. So that's one thing. And it also depends on where you stand in the club. Like if you're listening to that on speakers, you know, if I'm moving here, it's going to sound very different. The balance of it is going to sound very different than when I'm listening to it here or here, just because the phasal cancellations in the room are going to be different in every single place, essentially. So that's not something I do. And yes, I'm recording this exact same thing twice and penning it left and right because it's impossible to play the exact same take twice because the strings are going to ring a little bit differently. There's going to be a little bit different buzz. The guitar amp picks things up a little bit differently. Everything is just going to be ever so slightly different, and that's enough to separate the thing. And the only way to get there is to honestly do two very similar recordings. And that's why I pay so much attention to every single detail. Am I going to play down on, go down? Or am I going to play down on, go, do, go? That's really important because it's not important with the bass because it's going to be mono anyways. But if this was a guitar part and you had to pen it left and right, you immediately hear if one guitar part is playing something else because you get a left and right kind of feel all of a sudden. And it doesn't feel like one guitar anymore. So you need to play the exact same performance 2 times and pen it left and right. And to get those two sounding as close as possible to one another, that's the work. So that's what I wanted to show you in this video. Hit the like button, guys. Thanks so much for doing that for me. Thanks, Chris. I appreciate it. Copy the whole record and just select different areas. Copying the record isn't the approach he was talking about. He's recording his tracks to select the best. Then he will move on to the next track. Yes, exactly. After take 4, you are in the groove. I hope I can get into the groove a little bit faster than after take 4. I hope so, at least. And I mean, since I'm working with a clean signal that I'm flexing afterwards, it's, as I said, it's not 100% important that it's super precise. There's so many things you have to be aware of, like the feeling. If that one take didn't feel right, you won't take it. Yeah, exactly. He now selects 2 clips out of 8 takes in total, right? I don't see why I split this into 2 sessions. I think this is something I already answered, right? Yeah, I mean, you can split it into 2 sessions. It was just for discussion's sake. Usually I do it all in one go. All right. Let's see. Anything else in the chat? Yeah, so it's Logic Pro X. Good. I think we're pretty much done with this. So I'm going to set this back to... I'm going to put this back to so you guys can hear it. Multi-output device. And then we'll see how we mix those two, and we're gonna do just a brief leveling of the drums, bass, and guitars, so we have a final result, so to say. Okay. But as it stands, I'm fairly happy with this right now. So first of all, this is the what's that? Okay, that's the Kemper, and this here is the DI signal, and this is Kemper. Probably should call this DI bass as well, so I know what it is just by looking at it. And I could use colors as well, but who does that? Just those professionals, I hear. But and this obviously has to go to output stereo now, so that we have. I'm using both signals for the bass. I'm using the Kemper signal as well as the DI, and because both have very different qualities. If you listen to these tracks together, listen to this one. Compared to this, which is a lot, yeah, it's cleaner. Just a very different signal, you know? It's still super muddy. I wonder what I could do about that. Maybe I could double it up an octave above that and just mix that in so we get a little bit of that low rumble. but we have the definition of the higher octave. Maybe that's an idea. It's not something I'm going to do now because I want to finish up this live stream, but I'm not happy with this yet. This is definitely too rumbly. It's really on the edge. It's quite rumbly. I just wonder if it's too rumbly. I like a little bit of rumble. You know, I like it if it's just has all that push. Let's see what it's together. It definitely is. The attacks are really nice. It's just that the tone is just really hard to hear. Like there's almost no pitch to this. All right, so let's do a quick mix down here. And all I want to be mixing right now is these 4 tracks and the guitar, the drums. So let's just bring those up. Very quick mix down here. This is nowhere going to be final, obviously, because that would take a lot more time. But let's just mix this, maybe this section here, just that first intro section. And I didn't actually record the guitars for the bridge, but you know, I'll do that offline. Just you guys get the idea by now, I think. All right, so let's move into the mixer. And all we want to do is we just want those tracks here. Everything else should be muted. It is. That's good. Okay. Stereo out is here. I'm going to add CL2A to the output, so we have a little bit of compression going on there. And yeah, let's keep going. Let's start with this. So this is the drums. Let me just name these real quick. This is guitar left. You could do more doubles as well. I just found a pair of guitars, 2 guitars is plenty for me. And I can also group these, put them into group 1. Okay, so that when I move up one fader, the other one is going to go up as well. So they're moving in tandem, so to say. Okay, so we're going to unmute those, and let's start with the drums. All right, so that's like -9 decibel is usually where I'm kind of at with my drums. So that's usually the first one I start with. Let's move on to the bass. This bass will, at least in this section here, will definitely need a little bit of a boost in the low end. Ah, that comes in brutal. I love that moment, man. That sounds freaking brutal. We'll have to do some riding up here as well because the guitars are just, the tail here is just way too long, so we'll have to fix that eventually. You know what? I think it actually might work. We have to try with the guitars, but I think that actually might work out just fine. I'm digging it. I think it sounds pretty cool. Clearly this isn't mixed yet, but you know, I think it gives you a good idea on what the final thing will sound like. The Reverend says I should be working on a certain song instead. I'm here. Well, yeah, sometimes education is important too, though. Cool. Folks, hello from Dubai. Well, AI Inceptor, you're a little late because I think we're going to wrap this up. We've already been doing this for 3 hours. I think it was a very productive session. I think we managed to do a lot. Thanks so much for watching, folks. I really appreciate it. If you're just joining us, the reason I did this whole live stream was to advertise a little bit my Patreon channel, which the link for you can find in the description. I think it should be there. Oh, it's not. Okay, well, I'll put it in the description then. It's patreon.com/holisticsongwriting. So that was well planned, wasn't it? Okay, join us. What should we put there? Let's say, become a part of the community. Or join me on Patreon. That's better. Join me on Patreon. Because that's where I'm going to be doing these live streams a lot more in the future. You know, the second we hit 60 subscribers, 60 patrons on Patreon, that's when we're going to start with that whole thing. Doing something similar to this every single week. Or at least I'll try to do it every single week. Recording sessions and also the creative process, which I think is even more interesting in a lot of ways. Okay, thanks so much for watching, for watching, folks. I really appreciate it. Thanks for your time. It is very appreciated, and I hope to see you on Patreon soon. So take care, folks. Stay gefährlich, and all the other good stuff. Cheers.